Hey, welcome to this video by AutoTechWorld. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your old and worn brake pads with brand new brake pads. I'm going to show you all the tools that you're going to need. And I'm also going to show you where to apply this lube. All right, let's get to the video. But before you lift it up, either with a hoist or a jack, you want to loosen the lug nuts. Otherwise, it's going to do this. You always want to try to go in a crisscross pattern. It's a 21mm socket. And then once lug nuts are loose, you can lift up the vehicle. Or if you're fortunate enough, just press a button. And then you can just take those nuts out by hand. If it feels like it's binding, you can just press down the bottom and then that'll take the friction off the nut. And then you can remove the tire. Now we're able to remove the brake caliper to replace the brake pads. We're going to try prying the brake caliper this way, and by that we are pushing the cylinder into the caliper to make it loose so it's not clamped onto the brake pads anymore. If you have a pry bar or a screwdriver, just try to get behind the rotor like that and then push on the caliper. Now caliper should be loose like that. Now for all the tools and parts that I'm using, you can just go down to the description and find it there. You'll need a 14mm socket on a ratchet and then a 40mm wrench to hold the nut. Loosen them both and then you're able to just unbolt them. Now you want to be careful to not drop the caliper. You don't want it hanging on the hose. Now would also be a good time to look for a leak in the seal, but it looks good. Now you can remove the brake pads. If they are stuck, you can take a pry bar to pry them off. So here we got our new brake pads. We have these new clips that will go on the brake caliper bracket right here, so we can remove the old ones. We also have our brake pads wrapped up in these paper sheets here, and some aren't. I'm gonna lay them all out right here. They all look the same, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. But you can see in these ones they have these little tabs. There's new ones right here, and then we put them on the new brake pads wherever they have to go. And then these will scratch the rotor and squeal to let you know that the pads are worn down. Now, if you look at the old pads, they are worn down. There's not much left. And then if you look at the new pads, they are quite a bit thicker. If we install the new pads onto the caliper bracket, it will be thicker altogether. So that means we're going to need a bigger opening right here. Otherwise, we won't be able to install it. So for that, we're just going to take an old pad, and then I have this tool that I set in here, and then I can just compress it and push the cylinder back into the piston. Now, if you don't have a tool like that, but you got a big plier, you can also just install the pad here and just press it together with your big plier. You have these sliding pins here. You want to make sure that they are loose. If they are not loose, you either have to replace the whole bracket with the pins, or you might have to replace a whole bracket with a caliper. Depends on what you are able to get. Now, if they are loose, now is a good time to take them off, hold on to the dust boot while you're twisting the sliding pin, and then pull like that. And then you can also remove the top one, hold on to the dust boot, and then twist the slide pin and then just pull it out. Now the top one has this black plastic ring on the end, so you want to put this one back to the top. To clean the bottom one, I'm going to wipe it off with a paper towel. And then if you need to, you could also use some brake clean spray it down, and then wipe it off again to make it very clean, to get all the dirt off. Now for the top one, since it has this plastic or rubber ring on the top right here, do not use brake clean on it, because this rubber ring will soak up the brake clean and then it will swell up and won't fit as nice. So just wipe it off with a clean paper towel or a rag. So now you don't want to install these pins so clean without any grease on them. That's why I have this stuff. I'm going to lube up these sliding pins and then reinstall them into the brake caliper bracket. So the one with the black ring goes onto the top. You can turn it while you install it and make sure this dust seal pops on there. And the one without the rubber ring goes on the bottom. And again, make sure the dust boot pops onto the bolt, like so. Now we can install the clips to the brake caliper bracket. The way they're supposed to go on, these will hold on the bottom, like that. And then this little loop is toward the rear of the vehicle. Make sure you have it pushed all the way on, otherwise it's going to be hard to get the brake pad in there. So right now we can take our new pad, and we see on this one it has this squealer on this side. So we're going to take this thing and install it right here, like this. And then for the other one, it has it installed on the other side. So we're going to install this one right here. Now these brake pads, they will slide on these surfaces right here on the brake caliper bracket clips that we just installed. And to make it quieter, we will put some lube on that surface. You want to be sure not to get any lube on your brake pads. And then you want to do the same for the other side. Now if you look at this pad, which has a clip on that side, it's on the outside of the vehicle, because this is where the caliper holds onto the pad. This one has a clear mark from the piston. So this one will go on the side where the piston presses. This is not all the way in, so it's really hard to get it in like that. So what I like to do is I take my pry bar, put it in there and just tap it like that on the bottom with my hand. That usually gets it in all the way. First, you start it in the bottom and you just slide it in there, and then you do the top. So if you put the screwdriver right behind here and then pry down on the pad while you push it in, that works pretty good actually. Now before you install the brake caliper, you want to lube these areas as well. You can just put the lube on the pads where the caliper will be touching. Now you can slide the caliper onto the pads and then install the brake caliper bolts. And then torque them down to 20 foot-pounds and hold with your wrench if you need to. To make it easier to install the nuts, I'm going to insert them into my socket. You install them all the way by hand. And then you try with your ratchet as far as you can go. Now you can just lower the vehicle and torque the wheels to 76 foot-pounds. That's the torque spec anyways. Now you don't want to just get into the vehicle and start driving, because with one pump you're not going to take out all the play out of this caliper. So before you put it in gear, make sure you press the brake pedal a couple times, and then you can see how this piston is slowly coming out. Now it's tight, and as you saw, the first press does nothing. It does not yet slow down the vehicle. So that means if you put it in gear and you start driving, you're not able to press the brakes and may hit something. If this video was helpful to repair the brake pads on your Toyota Sienna, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more. Otherwise, God bless you and we'll see you next time.